Hello everyone. Today we are going to study about CAS 4, that is revised 2018, effective from 1st March 2019. Cost accounting standards on cost of production, acquisition, supply of goods, provision of services. This is our CAS 4. So let's start with the introduction. As you know, with effect from 1st March 2019, the name of cost accounting standards has also undergone a change. Last cost accounting standards was named as CAS on captive consumption. This cost accounting standard named as CAS on cost of production, acquisition, supply of goods, provision of services. What is the reason for updating CAS for? Reason is simple. With the introduction of GST effective from July 1, 2017, the incidence of tax shifted from manufacture to supply. So, in the excise tax regime, the incident of tax was on the manufacture or production of goods. However, in the GST regime, the emphasis on the supply of goods. So, therefore, there is a need for the revised cost accounting standard 4. So, moving from manufacture based regime to supply based regime, this is the basic reason for introduction of the cost accounting standard 4. The name has been changed from captive consumption to cost of production, acquisition, supply of goods, provision of services. So before going further, let us understand what is captive consumption. As CAS4 will give you an idea how to calculate the cost of production, where it has been used and it can be used, and it can be also used in both attestation and non-attestation purpose. So before that, first we understand what is captive consumption. So we can see that also for our knowledge purpose only, we should know what is captive consumption. So like we can say, for example, there is an X limited company who is going manufacturing of pen. So in that X limited company there are two division A and division B. Division A is preparing the pen and division B is preparing only the cap of the pen. So without division B, pen cannot be formed. So division A is going to contribute pen material, in which cost of production like material plus labor plus overhead are calculated. Then after preparing of pen, that A division will shift his product to division B for the manufacture of cap and convert it into finished goods. So this process of from shifting the manufacture product for further for further addition of the product, shifting from A division to B division is a captive consumption. This is called the captive consumption, that is in-house material used, that is within the house of X limited, materials are shifting from one division to another division. So what is the cost of production of captive consumption? That is direct material consumed plus direct labor cost plus direct expenses, that gives us prime cost, and that plus factory overheads plus admin overhead, that is related to production only, plus quality control cost plus research and division cost, net of realizable value of scrap and recoveries, net of adjustment for work in progress and finished goods is equal to that, going to gives to a cost of production. Then direct material consumed is like opening stock plus purchases plus taxes, and taxes that is not includable, that is no ITC is available on that we are going to conclude in a taxes, net of closing stock. So this is how we calculate the production of cost for goods consumed for captive consumption. Fine. So this is the little topic of the captive consumption. So while we go back to GST, why there is a need of change of name of cost accounting standard, as said earlier, that is with the effect of GST, introduction of GST effective from July 1, the incident of tax shifted from manufacture to supply. So this change in GST law, we have seen the change in coming in cost accounting standard also. So GST is in place of GST tax on supply of goods, which include a goods which is captively consumed, and if it is moved from one factory to another factory, one location to another location, from a registered dealer to another registered dealer, then the GST will be applicable. Now here the rule has been changed. Supply of goods and services, cost of production doesn't change. Listen carefully. Now the rules have been changed. but supply of goods and services, cost of production doesn't change. So CAS 4 is the principle only. Earlier it was also the same, now it's also same. The CAS 4 is the principle of cost of production, which we need to use in a business or industry. The concept of cost of production or manufacture is relevant under GST business or industry. The concept of production or manufacture is relevant under GST law, where the supply of services of goods and services both are determined with the basis of cost. So let us understand about the GST further for GST rules. So these are the history, introduction, history, and present. Present. I have cleared you with all the things. Now moving further about the rules. Rule 27 says, whenever there is an open market, it say you go for the open market value. But therefore, there are some specific goods or manufactured goods kind of things. It is quite difficult to calculate the same. So from there, rule 27, we have shifted to rule 28. And rule 20 is where goods are intended for further supply as such by the recipient. The value shall be the amount equivalent to 90% of the price charged for the supply of goods of like kind and quality by the recipient through his customer by a related person. Where a recipient is eligible for ITC, the value declared in the invoice shall be deemed to be the open market value of such goods, fine, and services. So you have to consider that value as an open market value and calculate 90% according to that. Further, rule 29, value of supply of goods between the principal and his agent shall be as an open market value of the goods being supplied, or at the option of the supplier be 90% of the price charged for the supply of goods of like kind and quality by the recipient to his customer, not being a related person, where the goods are intended for further supply by the said group. So for further, rule 29 will be at his or her will. You can declare at 90% instead of going open markets. So they will definitely go for cost of production, supply of goods, like, kind and quality. Who will decide? It will decide by the authorities who seized or decide what is there in goods, whether any further sale, business and trade is having like, kind, quality. So there may be an answer in favor or not, from which many disputes will arise, and these disputes take us further more for better understanding about this. So this is the rule 29. Now the rules which are like these are the rule 27, 28, 29 is the where value of supply is not determinable, then the said rule has been applicable for the rule 20, 30 and 31. Now the rule which we are dealing GST law with respect to the cost accounting standard will be rule 30 and 31 of GST law. They say that if the supply of goods and services are not the value determinable by any other rule, then you can apply rule 30 and 31. Rule 30 is giving a levy of consider 110% of cost of production, cost of acquisition, cost of services as the amount of supply. Rule 31 is giving you an open hand to determine the method of computation of value as per the established standard. So these are the rules which are residuary rules for CGST, and hence because of this residual rule we have cost accounting standards which tell us how can we compute the cost, because on that cost 10% markup will be added and then the value of supply shall be determined. So on the basis of rule 30, this case will be provide us cost of provision of services, cost of supply of goods, and in case as per the CGST rules. In case of supply of services, the supplies only in the case of supply of services, the supplier may opt directly rule number 31 by ignoring rule number 30. So these are the like major rules of cost accounting standard 4 we are going to implement in cost accounting standard 4, and rest is all the same, where the rest cost accounting standard as earlier. So objective are also same. The objective of the standard to bring uniformity and consistency. Or the cost statement shall be prepared on the standard determining the value of goods or services both. The standard shall further ensure adequacy in computing transaction value. with reference to open market value of supply of goods or value of supply of like, kind and quality. Scope, there are 5 points of scope: the determination of cost of production of goods, cost of acquisition of goods, cost of supply of goods, cost of provision of supply of goods, of value of supply of goods or services as per open market as per the goods or services of like, kind and quality, as we have discussed in rules. These are the important definition: actual capacity utilization, cost of purchase, acquisition, cost of production goods, cost of provision also, development cost, excess capacity utilization. We already studied in our earlier standards all these important definition. Principles also: the cost of production or acquisition of goods or provision of may be measured by for each type of goods or services separately. Same with cost of production or acquisition or supply of each type of goods shall be aggregate of direct and indirect costs related to production or acquisition or supply good activity of those goods. Cost of provision of each type of services shall be aggregate of direct, indirect related to the said service activity, and material cost shall be measured separately for each type of material produced. Whatever we have produced, we have to measure the material cost separately. Same with employee cost also, it will be measured separately. The material cost of normal, scrap, defective, which are rejected shall be included in the material cost. Like in this we have studied treatment of cost scrap. In the simple words I can say that if an scrap and waste produced during the production, that after selling that the value you will realize from that, our cost will decrease. Same, because we have realized the value of the product, then we can't charge it because we have sold it. So from that the cost of the product will decrease. The cost of production you have to subtract it from cost of production, you have to subtract it and shall be credited to cost of production. It means what it means: cost of production will decrease or reduce that you have subtracted the realizable value of scrap from cost of production. Fine. Same, the cost of utility also should be separately utilized. Like for example, power, electricity, water, whatever material has been used in that, whatever power, electricity, water has been utilized should be separately measured. Direct expenses also, cost of packing material also, high value spare also there, if they repair and maintenance, depreciation and amortization cost also, research and cost and development cost separately, cost incurred for production or acquisition of supply or goods or provision by services after split off point shall be measured for each type of joint byproduct or services of the term. This you have to understand of this is the telling where the treatment of joint products and byproducts. What do you mean? What do you mean by like uh, joint and byproducts of the services? Will going we are understanding in next slide also. Royalty and technical now fees: royalty paid as per consideration for use of assets. Then quality control. Quality control in how incurred in house for the production or acquisition. But it, like for maintaining the quality of product, there is always a separate department whose function is to regular checkup whether the product has been produced for captive consumption are according to the quality standard set, and so we are having employees in that department paying salary to them. Paying the salaries to that them will be the cost will be included in the cost of goods produced for our captive consumption at an agreed or invoice value if you are outsourcing them also or in-housing them also. So any abnormal cost, interest and other finance cost, impairment cost, imputed cost shall not be a part of cost of production. Cost of production or acquisition or supply of goods or provision shall be determined based on the normal capacity or actual capacity. Whichever is higher absorbed cost, it shall be treated as abnormal cost. Cost of production or acquisition of supply of goods or services shall include cost of input received from fee of cost at a concessional value, net of input tax credit from the recipient of goods or services, amortization cost for free tools, patterns, dies, drawing, blueprints, technical charge, art and like necessary for the production of a supply of goods or provision. Cost of production or acquisition of supply of goods or provision of service shall also include cost of rework, reconditioning, retro, fitment, production, operation overhead, and other costs allocable to such activity. Adjustment for stock, work in process, and recoveries from sale and scrap and wastage and the like necessary for the production or acquisition of supply of goods or provision of a work in process progress stock shall be measured at cost computed for different stages of completion. So let me brief about all these things. Like we will take WIP cost also. In process costing, we have studied about the value of WIP. There are majorly two elements we talk about WIP. One we take material and another one is conversion cost. So material cost is like 100%. We have taken material, and conversion cost is like this certain percentage of the amount we are going to take a conversion. Like in process costing, we prepare our statement of equivalent production. In that statement we talk degree of completion, that this cost is to determine on the basis of whether the material has been used 100% or not, how much percentage of conversion cost has been incurred. Let's say 50%. 1000 is the cost of material, 1000 unit. Conversion cost is 500 units to material cost incurred on 1000 units, whereas labor and overhead incurred on 500 unit only. So this is what we want to say, that the stock of WIP should be valued at the cost on the basis of stages of completion as per the cost accounting principles. Why cost accounting principles used? Because in process costing we have studied that if they have given degree of completion, then it's okay, we will take that, but degree of completion is not given, consumed, then the not given, then as per the cost accounting principles we will assure that material is 100% consumed and conversion cost is 50% complete. So this is as per the general accounting norms. Therefore here is the words used, cost as per the cost accounting principles. So whatever we have incurred, on that basis we calculate the value of closing stock, opening stock and closing stocks of WIP shall be adjusted for calculation of cost of production, and simultaneously same has been dispatched accordingly. So subsidy or grant, any grant, fines and penalties, cost of production or acquisition of supply while assigning various elements of traceability to goods economically feasible manner. It should be economic feasible, as already understood. We have assignment of cost. There will be an like cause and effects. What is the cause of particular product incurrence of expense? I will ask to allocate the entire expenditure to a particular project, and same with the benefits to be a portion, like which cost will receive maximum benefit out of production expenditure. I will ask to allocate the overhead in that particular over cost object. Fine. Assignment. The variable production or operation overhead shall be absorbed based on actual production. The fixed production or operation overhead and other similar item of fixed cost shall be as quality control, research development, admin costs related to manufacturing, cost of production, supply of goods or provision of services on basis of normal capacity or actual capacity of the plant or services, whichever is high. In case of a process result in more than one services being produced simultaneously, the joint costs incurred up to the split-off point are allocated between the services on a rational, equitable, and consistent basis. So this is like I said earlier, we're going to discuss in another slide. So this is where, so treatment of joint product and byproduct. So how we produced products have been produced simultaneously, how we will assign the cost. So first, what do you mean by rational consistent basis? When we studied joint costing we have different methods how to distribute joint costed between the joint products, like sales at split off point, sales after split off point. So net realizable value, contribution margin method, reverse cost method, these are all the methods. If you have joint and buy products during the production, so you have to distribute the joint cost on the rational and consistent basis. In case by product, In case of process result in more than one services being produced, joint cost incurred up to the split off point are allocated between the services at rational, equitable and consistent basis. So how much money we have realized after selling, and accordingly we will going to distribute according to them. And miscellaneous income also, if there is any miscellaneous income, then we will adjust it if it is related to production. Presentation, there is like 4 appendix, we have 4 statements for like cost of production of taxable, this is the format. Cost of provision of taxable services, cost of acquisition of taxable goods, statement of open market value as per goods or services of like kind and quantity. These are the few formats you can go through on go through with. The cost statement shall be prepared by the presentation. The cost statement shall be prepared by the management. Okay, the cost statement can be prepared by any management, and it can be signed and authenticated by any management, senior upper management of the company, partnership firm or proprietor. But the cost statement always be certified by the cost accountant who is in practice, who can determine value of taxable goods and services at the time of supply and issue the same issue of tax invoice as per the section 31 of CGST. In case where it is may not be possible to determine true and fair cost of goods or services at the type of supply of such goods, in case अगर possible नहीं है, if it is not possible to determine the fair value, actual value of the goods time of such goods and services, then the company asked to compute the cost of budgeted estimated standard cost, and on that basis cost accountant can issue provisional cost accounting cost certificate on such basis, and final certificate shall be issued only after the costs are finalized only. In case of any variation in the cost and hence the value of goods or services, supplier should issue debit or credit note. Certification, like there are 3 periodical in a year where cost statement can be certified. What are they? In case of registered person whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year does not exceed the limit, so in that case the cost statement can be certified for 6 months only. Like for example, for April to September shall be certified in March for the same year, in the same financial year it can be done. In case of registered person whose aggregate turnover exceeds during the financial year, and that cost statement can be certified for quarterly basis. Like cost for July to September shall be certified in June for the same year. Certified cost statement shall also be issued for completed financial year annually based on audited as on like before 31st December of the next financial year. Fine. Disclosure. If there is any material significant and quantifiable, then it should be disclosed. If there is any cost accounting principle and practice during the has been changed that is affecting our cost of production or acquisition, and that will also be. If there is an opening stock, closing stock, work in progress that is not readily available for certificate version, the same should be disclosed. If there any document is not available, then that also be disclosed. That is the important point. Or any fact that impacts on material shall be on the material of the cost shall be disclosed. So this is the cost accounting standard 4. I hope I made you clear with everything, with each and every point. So we'll going meet you with the CAS 5 very soon. Till then, bye.